Senator John Fetterman, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, has a knack for telling the truth. He tells it exactly like it is. He's not for sale. He works across the aisle. He's not for sale with Republicans, not for sale with the Democrats. He is very straightforward. He's very blunt, and he joins us right now. Senator Fetterman, thank you very much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me, Greta.
I love to hear from you because I never know what you're going to say because you don't do any party lines either way. You just, as I said, you tell it very, very straight, just as you say. So let me start first with Israel today and its military actions inside Qatar. What do you think?
Absolutely. I absolutely support the killing of Hamas anywhere, wherever. It's a way for Israel to remind the world that they can find them everywhere they are. And I absolutely celebrate that. Kill them whether they were in Iran or not, whether it's in Gaza or just yesterday in Qatar. They are all fully accountable, and I absolutely support that.
And of course,
it's also the same for Hezbollah. And I think I was the only Democrat that supported the Iranian nuclear strikes as well, too. I mean, it's like entirely appropriate. And that's why I support that, because I am unapologetically a supporter for Israel and the Democratic Party. And that's I'll just call it straight.
Well, that's what I just said. That's how I introduced you. I said you call it like it is, which is what I very much appreciate. Whether I agree with you on something or not, I really appreciate how straightforward you are on things. And of course, Israel did eliminate, as they say, Hania, who was a Hamas leader last July when he was in Iran. So they will go any place to get Hamas. Will this have an impact, do you think, on the negotiations to release the hostages, or do you think Hamas never intends to release them?
I don't know, but for me, I think they ordered the massacre of innocent Israeli civilians on a bus just on Monday, including a pregnant woman as well too. So I do think they are fully accountable, and then I think if anything would have had an impact, that they're willing to massacre innocent civilians on a bus. That really wasn't an organization that was looking for some kind of a peace.
You know, I know you've been to Israel, and I have too after October 3rd, and so that's why I have I have a very strong view about this, which is in alignment with yours on this. Why do you think so many of your colleagues don't feel as you do on issues about Hezbollah and about Hamas?
I don't know. I can't explain that, and of course they're entitled to their own views. But this was not a genocide. There was no ethnic cleansing for anything. For me, you have an existential war, and I have to decide, are you going to stand on the side of Israel or on the side of Hamas and ultimately Iran and its other proxies as well, too? So for me, it was a very simple choice through this. And now what Israel was able to accomplish to eliminate the leadership of Hamas, as Hezbollah, Houthis, and the Iranian nuclear scientists. Now we finally have the first chance for real peace here now. And everyone must remember this could end right now if they finally send those poor beings that they've kept under the ground for 700 days. They could send them home and disarm, and there could be peace. And there's a first chance for real regional peace. And that's made possible for what Israel has accomplished throughout all of this terrible war.
What do you think that the neighboring countries think, like Saudi Arabia, who of course has been at odds with Iran forever? What do you think that they think about about Netanyahu and the IDF going into Gaza full speed ahead and now doing this military action in Qatar?
Again, I'm always going to default. I'm going to follow Israel through this. And if the choice is not, or if you have the opportunity and the appropriate intelligence to eliminate the Hamas leadership, I absolutely am going to support that, regardless of whatever the blowback is. So that's entirely appropriate. Now, remind you, these are the people that organized the October 7th massacre, and they are the ones that have carried this war for 2 years and refused to just send those hostages home and disarm. So for me, you're ultimately accountable Israel had the intelligence, and I think they made the correct choice.
Turning now to Washington, D.C., on Capitol Hill, it's very divided. It seems like everyone votes pretty much, not always, along party lines. Do you see anything that will sort of break that divide? Is there anything that would make Republicans and Democrats do more talking to each other? They may not ultimately agree with the viewpoints, but at least having more of a dialogue.
Oh, I talk to Republicans all the time. I talk to Democrats all the time. I agree with some. I don't disagree on some things. But for me, I think it's important that we do have to find a way together to work through this. And if I happen to be the only Democrat that was unapologetically supporting Israel throughout all of this, then well it be. I truly don't understand some of those views from my other colleagues. But for me, I've decided to firmly stand on Israel's side until Hamas is held accountable and those hostages are finally brought home.
This is your first term in the U.S. Senate. What surprises you now that you look back to the number of years you've been in the Senate? What surprises you about coming to the Senate that you didn't expect when you first were elected?
Well, of course, no one expected that we would have had this awful 10-7. But I declared, in an interview during the primary, it's like, absolutely, I believe in peace. I believe that if a two-state solution is possible, but if the shit hits the fan, I'm going to go all in on Israel, and that's exactly what happened. And I did that. And for me, I don't just represent Democrats in Pennsylvania. I represent every voter and every person in Pennsylvania. So I'm going to be Pennsylvania senator. And if I agree with the other side, I will. But I have very strong views that I absolutely don't agree with Republicans on now too. Like, for example, I didn't vote for the big, beautiful bill. And then I do believe in vaccinations, and I don't support a lot of the things RFK is doing at the CDC. But I do support other of these things that are happening right now. So I'm calling balls and strikes.
Senator John Fetterman, who represents everybody in Pennsylvania, not just the Democrats. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm always happy to show up.
People think news just happens. It doesn't. It happens because there's someone there to capture the moment, to explain it and share it. That's my job. I go where news breaks and give you the facts. Join me for The Record on Newsmax.